So I'm here with Max Brooks, author of The Zombie Survivor Guide and World War Z. And thank you for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you, but it's actually World War Z.
World War Z. So before the zombie, which is I guess your main shtick now,
My main shtick.
what were you doing like in the 90s?
Well, before I was doing my main shtick, my pre-shtick was I had many pre-shticks. The first one was voiceover acting, and that actually paid the bills for a while. And I did things like Batman Beyond and Buzz Lightyear, a bunch of other ones. And then after that, I was writing for Saturday Night Live, and I did that for 2 years. Those were good times. But while I was doing all of that, I had written the Zombie Survival Guide before. I had written Zombie Survival Guide in 1997, 98, and then that got published right after I ended my tour on SNL. So those were all my pre-shticks.
Now, talking of Saturday Night Live comedy, I mean, your dad, being Mel Brooks, how would you say, would he influence you a lot in where your career has gone?
Yeah, he wrote all my material. I would just send him and say, Dad, we need a sketch for this, and he would just write it and I'd pass it in. That's how we do things.
What sort of got you into the whole zombie thing?
I didn't get into the zombie things. They found me, as zombies tend to do. I've been scared of zombies for years. When I was a little kid, I saw some Italian zombie film where they had cannibal footage mixed in with it. It was really freaky, so I've always been scared of zombies. It's just I started writing about them during the Y2K scare. And kids, for those of you who are too young to remember, Y2K was this time when everybody over the age of 30 was afraid that at midnight, year 2000, the world would just go to hell. And so people were actually stocking up on it. So all these survival guides were being written, but there wasn't one for zombies. That's why I wrote it.
So I'm going to ask a little bit about the Zombie Survivor Guide and World War Z. The attention to detail is incredible. The research and the believability of the scenarios that you create. What sort of research did you do? Did you travel around the world? Because World War Z obviously has a very international feel to it.
I've been to about half the countries. I've been to Russia. I've been to, obviously, Eastern Europe. I lived in Eastern Europe for a little while. I lived in the UK. I've traveled to South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. I've been to another country that I wasn't supposed to go to, so we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I've been to a few of the countries, and also just done a lot of just homework. You know, if you're going to do it right.
Were there areas of the world that you were thinking of including in the book that you just didn't have time to include or got cut when you were editing it?
You know, the whole book was originally going to take place in Denmark, and I came across this play, Hamlet, and I was like, oh, fuck me, Denmark's been used up. So I had to change everything, and I was like, well, if I can't do it in the country I want, I'm just going to put it in all other little countries and hope it works out. So, you know, fuck you, Shakespeare.
I'm glad that you name-dropped Canada and played a little bit of a role in the book.
Yes. Yeah, we have several. We have a Canadian character who does not say A, by the way. So anyone who says the book's being stereotypical, ha 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 ha. Half the people signing autographs been saying A to me. Yes, we have a Canadian character. We also have a lot of the book takes place in Canada, where the survivors, or they who try to survive in the cold and end up freezing to death, and other nefarious things happen. So yeah, probably the darkest chapter of the book takes place in Canada.
That's saying something interesting about our country, maybe, because your book has a lot of social commentary in it. So.
Well, I try to do that. I think any good zombie story has social commentary. George Romero, his movies were social commentary, but with zombies. I think anybody who's come after Romero has left the social commentary by the side and then just focused on brains being eaten.
Would you say that the world that we're in now, with obviously the Iraq war, there's Afghanistan, there's a lot more terrorism, do you think the resurgence of zombies, both in every aspect of media, I mean, we have games and books and movies, it's all hand in hand with that?
Yeah, that's why. I mean, zombies are apocalyptic, but they're a safe apocalyptic. You know, zombies are a way for us to explore the notion of the world coming to an end without it really being too scary. I mean, I've said many times, you can have zombie walks, and that's cool, but you can't have pig flu walks. That's not fun, kids. You know, and you can sit in your cocktail party and be the life of the party and say, oh, what would you do when zombie outbreaks happen? And you can really talk. Funnily, oh, I'd have canned food and I'd do this. But you can't be like, hey, what would you do, kids, if a crazy terrorist set off a nuke right in the middle of Ottawa? No, that would bring a conversation to a dead halt. So zombies are a safe way to explore the apocalypse.
Do you consume or like read and watch a lot of the new zombie material that comes out?
No, I mean, I've seen the original Dawn of the Dead, so that's all I need. I got the best. I don't need the rest.
Have you read The Walking Dead?
You know, I have actually. I haven't read it recently. I haven't had time. I have a child now, so I have a real job. But I read the first couple issues, and it was good. And I actually have respect for Kirkman because he did it before it was popular. Now everybody's doing it. Now it's de rigueur. But when Kirkman started doing a zombie comic, zombie comic, fucking title. So yeah, I always give props to him.
And now that's about to be turned into a AMC TV series, which will be interesting to see how that happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens with that.
So speaking of comics, as I can see, you are now involved in a comic project. We have the Zombie Survivor Guide Recorded Attacks. How did you get involved in that?
I got involved by writing it. I literally just wrote.
But did you approach them, or they came to you saying?
No. I was stalked by a man named William Christensen from Avatar Comics. He said, "Do you want to do a zombie comic?" I said, "Yes, I would." I said, "I'd like to take the recorded attacks at the back of Zombie Survival Guide and make a graphic novel." And so that's what we did.
So on the Zombie Survival Guide, I want to ask you one question. If you were to look around this booth right now, can you name one object here that you would say is a necessity if suddenly zombies attack Fan Expo?
The bottles of water. Because you're not going to be shooting guns every minute or swinging a sword every minute, but you're going to be losing perspiration every minute. So kids, stay hydrated.
So I'm going to talk about the What Was That audiobook. Great voice cast, and I assume that your work in voice helped you assemble such an amazing cast.
My past allowed me to have contacts, so I could reach out to these people and ask them if they wanted to be part of it.
Now, I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but now I'm dying to actually hear the audio version of it. Do you think that with the film coming out, you might have some fans who listen to the audiobook and have grown to love the characters voiced by those people? I mean, any chance any of those actors might get a work in the film?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Would you think it'd be a good idea?
Are you kidding? I would love it to be a good idea. I'd love to see those people in the movie. But I'm just the guy that wrote the book, which ranks, somewhere beneath the guy who serves the donuts to the crew. So I'm not the guy you should be talking to.
So briefly speaking of the film, because obviously you're not directly involved in the production of it, there have been some recent announcements that some changes have been made.
Yes.
One would be, I heard that J. Michael Straczynski wrote a script.
He did.
A leaked version was reviewed by some people as being really, really good.
And it was. No, I've only read the first draft of the script, which I thought was genius. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. I haven't read the subsequent drafts.
Because, I mean, it strikes me as strange, something that was supposed to be really good is now being rewritten, but...
Yeah, I know. It's weird that they would do that in Hollywood. They've never done that before. Really?
So, after, I just want to wrap it up by saying thanks very much.
Thank you.
And after you've sort of this work, the comic, what are your future plans? You're working on a new book?
Yes, I have another graphic novel which I just finished, which is now being illustrated, and now I'm moving on to writing a miniseries for G.I. Joe.
Interesting.
I think so.
Any more future zombie novels in your brain somewhere?
We'll see what happens, in a few years from now when all these other projects have come to fruition. And
my last question would be, what's your opinion on the whole debate between the classic Romero zombie and the resurgence of, the new fast zombies?
Oh, well, that's easy. The slow zombies are a wonderful metaphor for the anxiety of human mortality, and fast zombies are gay.
Well, there you have it, the final word on the fast zombie. So anybody who's a fan of 28 Days Later should just go jump in the lake or something. And thanks for taking time to talk to us.